Good afternoon, and welcome to Straight Talking with Kelly, where real conversations happen. This is where you will meet the most talented, creative, and intelligent people that come to share tips, resources, and knowledge on various topics. Today, I have with me Mr. Celestino Ellington. We call him Tino. He is the co-founder and executive director of Urban Student Athlete Development Academy, also known as USADA. And he will talk about their mission and upcoming Changing the Game fundraiser campaign. So welcome, Tino.
Thank you. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you for having me. Excited to
Oh, I'm
be here.
excited. Oh, yeah, this is going to be good because you and I got history.
Absolutely.
Before we start talking, let me read a little bit about his background. Tino was born and raised in San Francisco to immigrant parents. His mother is half Puerto Rican and Filipino from the Philippines. His father is an Afro-Latino from Panama. In elementary and junior high, he attended the Discovery Center School, where he learned academic habits in a college prepped environment. Participating in scholastic sports was critical to his overall personal development, which continued in high school and college. He serves as Bayview Hunters Point Sports and Recreation Director. Although establishing a sports program and a successful sports program and experiencing true impact, he felt it was time to be very intentional with his work. So in the summer of 2019, he enrolled in an MBA program at Springfield College, thus beginning the career of creating his dream organization known as Urban Student Athletic Development Academy, also known as USADA. When he received his MBA in nonprofit management in December of 2020, USADA was fully launched with a small faculty and kids in the program. How exciting is that? I cannot wait to find out a little bit more about how it all started and all that other good stuff. So, Tino, before we do that, I would like to walk down memory lane to talk about how you and I are connected. But I want you to tell that story.
Well, Auntie Kelly, grew up with Tiffany, your daughter, and your nephew Pierre. We all grew up together, and you guys were like another family to me growing up. And honestly, when I found out I was gonna have a kid as a teenager, you were the first adult that I confided in, and you always gave me good advice through the years. You know, you were very entrepreneurial spirited, and I always loved that about you. And you always told me when, be careful what you say because it comes, and throw it in the universe and see what happens. And those are things that I've always kept to. And this is kind of the metamorphosis of my personal journey and my professional journey. So it's definitely an exciting time, but you were definitely a mentor to me and giving me all the brain food that I always needed and gave me the best advice. And I just listened to good advice.
Yeah. Well, you know what I find fascinating is that not only did I have the pleasure of working with you as a team, but I got your son. I got a
Yeah,
chance
yeah.
to work with Tristan. It's
Yeah.
like you have got to be kidding me.
And it
And
came at a
then
time where we were having, different growing pains, and it was, us being able to work together and reconnect at the Y and him being a part of your program. And I knew what you were going to give him because it was the same knowledge that you gave me. So it was the timing of that was perfect.
yeah, yeah, it was beautiful. And it was wonderful working with him. And now seeing him as a successful father is just absolutely amazing.
Crazy.
So now, Tino, give me some background on where you were born and raised and the schools you attended.
Okay, well, like you said, I was born and raised in San Francisco. My parents met in the Mission District, of course. You immigrant to a new country, a new city. You go to where it's comfortable. They being bilingual in Spanish, they met in the Mission. And, here's what you get, a Puerto Rican, Filipino, Panamanian kid. And,
Okay.
we lived a lot in the city. We moved around a lot, adapting to the culture. We struggled socially and economically and of what this was. And, the American dream didn't always seem dreamy at times, but regardless of how hard it was, my parents always valued education. And even if we didn't have a home, consistent home at the time, my schooling was consistent. I went to Discovery Center K through 8, and by the time I hit like fourth, fifth grade, I fell in love with sports. Of course, like every kid in the neighborhood, everybody wants to go pro. That's how you make your millions. And I bought into that. After I left Discovery Center. I mean, I played everything from soccer to basketball to baseball. Grew up playing park and rec, but it was always scholastic sports, my school teams, that really drawn me in. And when I went to high school, I went to Archbishop Reardon High School and picked up football and got to play baseball there as well, and graduated and had an opportunity to play football and baseball at Whittier College, and ultimately graduating with a BA in business administration, and becoming the first in my family to graduate from college. But, I remember looking out the window and I couldn't believe that I was playing college sports. I wasn't the best athlete. I wasn't the smartest student. And I remember looking out the window thinking, this is 1997, I was already, Tristan was a year old already, and I'm just going through this weird transition in life. I thought I got into the wrong major. And I just remember I just was flashing back on what got me here. And I was like, okay, I wasn't a jerk. I was a coachable kid, and I had good people around me, and I took good advice, and I was able to do stuff that people that were more talented and more smart than I was. And I remember saying in 97, one day, I would love to start a nonprofit organization to help kids like me get to college through sports. So you fast forward that with all the experience that I've gained at the Y, being with the Y since 2006 and starting a sports program up to developing, where we're at today. So I think it's just timing of just, like I said, it feels like the more metamorphosis of my personal life and journey. And I'm just glad I get to be a part of it. I'm glad, that I'm along for the ride, that it's been working. And it's something that I would have wanted to be a part of as a kid. And I think that's where the magic happens, strictly for, kids here in the city, because I understand the distractions that it is. And I
Yeah.
understand the process of, getting into that stuff. But I'm sure we'll get into that a little bit later. But yeah,
Yeah.
got to play through my education. So that was the best thing. And when eligibility was over, graduation came, and then the real world hits. But I'm glad I got to play my sport through my education, and it's just a process. It's not so much talent or smarts,
Oh,
steps.
absolutely. And I'm sure it made your parents so proud, being a college graduate and, all the other things that you were able to achieve. So you are the co-founder and executive director of Urban Student Athletic Development Academy. So tell me, what is it and what inspired you to create it? Even though I know you kind of talked about because you were athletic, but something else must have inspired you to say, it's time, let me do this.
Well, enrolling and taking online classes and returning into, doing some kind of studying and book stuff again. I think I needed to get my mind going again. And this was actually one of my assignments. The assignment was in a fund development course I was taking, and the prompt was create a fund development plan for your organization. And just from having a traveling sports team at the Y, it would have been easy, for the sake of an assignment, to just go back to a fundraiser that I normally do, turn it in and get the grade, right?
Oh,
Because I already do
okay.
it. But the other half of the question was, or create one for your dream organization. And that's when it hit me right there. My partner was living in Las Vegas at the time, and it was almost like the next day or two, he calls me and says, he was at this academy in Vegas, and really similar of what we were trying to do. And it was just a combination of those things. And then COVID hit. For the first time, I was able to just sit still, no traveling sports teams, all my sports programs were stopped, and I was able just to put pen to paper and start thinking of my thoughts and really research what was out there. visit a few places and take bits and pieces of models that, I thought that were successful in other areas. And it was like every assignment just led to the development step by step into forming this thing. And then by the time it was done, it was already in motion. So I think COVID, I think between every, tragedy, there's an opportunity somewhere. That was kind of my approach when the pandemic hit. And, it made online school or alternative learning mainstream for kids like us. So it was just timing. It was just
Yeah.
timing.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So I would like to know how the name came about. So why is it named Urban Student Athletes? What is that about?
I've always played with that name for like over 10 years. That name's been in my head because, being in the inner city, living in San Francisco, I mean, by the time we were 14, we were probably exposed to anything and everything, the exposure, and we think it's normal, you know what I mean? But, in hindsight, just working with youth and being involved in youth development for over 20 years, it's
Yeah,
trauma.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
traumatizing, and there's a lot of normalizing abnormal, and even myself, even though we moved around a lot, that was traumatizing for me as a kid. I hate moving just because of going through that stuff,
yeah,
but it
yeah,
was something about sports that gave me hope and lifted my spirits. If I performed on the field, it kind of, it made me feel good, and it gave me, okay, maybe I can do this thing by playing this. And, it was kind of that. And there's a lot of data and science on physical activity and battling trauma. It's not by
yeah,
accident that
yeah,
most kids of color in college or in the NBA or NFL are kids from these environments from all over the
yeah,
country. So
yeah,
there's something magical that happens within sports, that kind of gets you out of your rut and gives you some kind of hope. And I think that's just as addictive as anything else. So I was very intentional about urban, being inner city and everything that matters in those fields. And student athletics, having worked in youth sports, I think we've gotten away from the student athlete part. Kids think they're going to the NBA out of 8th grade, and I'm like, no, there's a process, and the
You're
process is
like,
through
oh
school.
no.
Yeah, there's a process,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
there's a way to do things. And it was time to just really be intentional and work with kids and families that want to take this journey specifically. This is very, very specific of a program, and we've been attracting some high quality students, and they've been transitioning into high school with success. And it's going into our 3rd school year, and each year it's getting better. So
wow,
um,
that's beautiful.
definitely lit another fire under my belt for me. So
Well, you know what I find very fascinating about this whole thing? It's a community, and it also gives the students a sense of belonging. They're a part of
absolutely.
something, you know what I mean? And that is so key because it doesn't
Yeah,
happen all the time.
no, and it's building a certain kind of alumni because we
Yes.
are limited in space because of our the size of our facility. It's pretty exclusive, and to have 2 graduating classes, and now they get together, they all come back, and when we visit the Reardons or the Sacred Hearts, they're touring us as we go, and these schools are having really great experiences with them. But now they're competing with each other. That first year's
Oh,
class, 70% of them got into the school. There were this past class 100%. So our class is better than yours. Yeah, but our class did this. So it's creating this kind of brotherhood, and for the high schools to accept our curriculum and get our kids. That's the most amazing part. To have 5 of the top schools in the San Francisco Bay Area and giving our kids an opportunity to be at these schools. It's life changing. Not
it's
just
beautiful.
academically, but we know the educational problems our kids of color in San Francisco face.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
private school is just, you don't think it's for you, but I was that kid. It wasn't for me, and we didn't have anything. But there's ways, and just teaching people, not just the kids but the families, to navigate that. Your situation, what it is, it's not always a bad situation. It could be a way in for your kid to get things that you weren't able to. And there's, it's really just leveraging the resources and having knowledge of the resources that are out there. And like I said, just really being intentional about the work.
Now, dude, that's so funny that you just talked about resources because my next question to you is that you've had significant momentum and experience impactful results very quickly with few resources. Talk about that. How have you been able to do this amazing work on a string?
My partner, William Shannon, for years, I've known him for over 15 plus years and, through the youth sports and, it's the both. We know a lot of people, we know a lot of people. We've had good reputations of running quality sports programs, individually as
Yeah,
individuals. So
yeah,
for me and
absolutely.
him to come together and do something together, it was like, you two doing something together. Like it's interesting. Let's see how it works. But even though we have two opposite sides of the story, I have the urban student athlete portion of where I was able to go to college. He has the flip side. He didn't have the access and, became a pro and other things in his life, and he took the other side. So we're kind of a yin yang, and it's
Nice.
very organic and authentic, and people feel it. And like I said, people know our reputation just of what we've been able to do as individuals through our work through the years, as him coaching football and basketball, and my experience as well. And it's kind of just putting it together. So we've learned how to do things with nothing. A lot of private donations and people that just want to see us win. It's just been a weird. Every step and every interaction has been with somebody that wanted to see us win majority of the times, and we're still standing. So we're hoping to continue to build that because that was crucial of getting started. Very
Well,
little, but we've both been here before.
how when the universe see you going after what you want and
Mm,
believe in, everything falls into place. The people show up, the money comes, it just happens, and that's
it's
when you
just
know that you're doing good work. So now
absolutely
I know on August the 17th, you are launching the Changing the Game campaign. Tell me more about
yes.
that. And I know it's for family, friends, and influential people. What outcome are you looking for with this event?
Well, this is kind of our kickoff event. I know through the last couple of years, we've just been in the work, building the stories, making the work happen. I think just from my experience of what I've seen, you've seen, people struggle with programming, and I'm fortunate to where, we don't have that issue, but I really wanted to build something solidified to where program can start taking itself. Now, this year is really about exposing what we've been doing in this short period of time and continue to tell those stories and give people more awareness of what USADA is doing. So we're launching our capital campaign. Our goal for this year is 300,000, and that's we want to look to really hire people, get a bigger facility because our space can only hold 15 students just off the size, and we
Okay.
had over 50 students on a wait list. So
Oh,
we
wow.
definitely want to, yeah. So it's
That's
like, oh, we're
beautiful. That's exciting.
yeah, very exciting. Not hard. It's not a bad problem to have. So, it's
Right.
really just about trying to get a bigger facility, staff to really do this thing, and really build this thing the way it should be. So
Mm-hmm,
this
mm-hmm.
first event is for family, friends, people that always said, "Hey, let me know if you need anything." Small group of people, that want to see us win and fill the room and let their conversations talk amongst themselves and see what can lead into the next, because we're going to do a series of events throughout the year to try to hit our goals. So this is the first of
That's
many, very
beautiful.
intimate, very small.
Now, at some point, will you do like a GoFundMe page or anything on that nature or no?
Yeah, we have a few fundraising timelines that we are going to hit, but we have a
Okay.
couple of events that we want to hit, and this specifically has a few series. We also have our casino night fundraiser that happens in November, and we constantly fundraise throughout the year, but we're open to different funding, and that's what another thing we want to do is hire somebody that could be our fund development director and go after this money, because it is a lot for two of us.
Yeah,
We get a lot of
absolutely.
volunteers, but now it's time to really be intentional and find the experts that are experts in what they're in and be able to support them and make this a true career path. So that's the goal.
That is so beautiful. So now what I would like for you to tell me is that like what is the mission and the vision of USADA?
Well, our USADA is a nonprofit, sports-based youth development program, educating all students in all areas of their overall development. I think with a lot of either sports or school, you're
Mm-hmm.
developing one way. You're doing all sports or you're doing all academic. There's really not that
Okay.
balance, and you need to follow what that balance is. And sports is our way to connect with the youth, and we try to just get them prepared. They all want to take this journey of collegiate sports. So, we teach them the process and, life after sports. But our mission is to empower socially and economically disadvantaged youth by providing access to academic, athletic, and community support services. It's not talent, it's not smarts, it's access to the information, and that's the one thing that I think a lot of our kids are missing. And just having gone through that experience, I've learned how to navigate that, and
That's beautiful.
got pretty good at it. And now it's almost like these kids are in an incubator program for a year going in before they enter high school, leaving, there's not too many middle school students that are eating properly and working out properly and taking the right things they need to fuel their body. So they're growing differently. And, academically, it's a tough curriculum. So they're getting those same reading reps and those writing reps, and they're reading better and writing better. So when they get to high school, they know how to manage their time a little bit better. They understand, they develop a different kind of work ethic. It's
So you are
always
giving them such a leg up. I love it.
giving giving them the cheat sheet to the test.
That's right. You are giving them a
It's
leg
and
up. And I think
so
what you touched on, you did with me at the Y with the nutrition, because I worked with a lot of your sports teams. And it
mhm,
was phenomenal, watching them, some of them not used to eating, a lot of fruits and vegetables, because we know
mhm,
that the Bayview is definitely a food desert. So being able
absolutely.
to expose them to that type of stuff, it's
Yeah,
phenomenal.
and what eighth grader is lifting and conditioning twice a day. You need that to fuel your body. So,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
have a performance nutritionist, and we know while they're here, they're eating the proper snacks and they're eating the proper amount of calories that they need for their body to grow and develop in their minds. And it's a whole holistic approach to it. And it's really that work ethic. So when they get to high school, they're moving at a varsity pace. They're already ahead of
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah.
So,
So these are middle school age kids. And so like what age is
yep.
that? Is that like 12?
13, 14 years old,
Okay, 13, 14. Then
13
you
and
get them
14
into
years
high
old,
school.
and then they go to high school.
And you are actually getting some of them in private high schools too, aren't you?
Yeah. So, I mean, of course I'm a little biased, haven't gone to Reardon, but playing in that league, the WCAL, the Western Catholic Athletic League, with the Sarah high schools and the Bellarmine, uh, that's a proven college prep high school program. I mean,
Okay.
some of the greats come out of that league. When I was at Reardon, I was playing against Tom Brady all through high school, and Pat Burrell, and Barry
Wow.
Bonds went to this league, and Lynn Swans, and the list goes on to how many greats come out of this conference.
Yeah.
So I was focusing on the San Francisco schools, the Sarah, St. Francis, St. Ignatius, Sacred Heart, and Reardon, and then we have a student at St. Francis in Mountain View, and Sarah High School took a couple of our students this year in San Mateo, where
Beautiful.
so there's 8 schools in the conference, and the only 3 schools that we don't have a student in is way in San Jose. But for the local schools to accept our kids, and that's a good thing. And Sarah High School right now is probably the top football program in Northern California. So to have 2 of our guys and the top program in Northern
Oh, look at
California
you.
right
Look at you. Just come on. Go ahead. Come on. Come on.
now,
Let me
they
let
have a
let
great program, but Reardon, we're coming back. Reardon, we're
I'm
coming back.
getting ready to pat you on the back for me because it's beautiful. I'm so proud of you. This is awesome. So, Tino, tell me this. What should we expect from you in the next 5 years? What does that look like?
The next 5 years, USADA will have a bigger facility servicing 50 seventh graders and servicing 58th graders a year. Um, of course, we'll have our hands in, some of the top schools in the Bay Area. And instead of flooding in, getting kids in 1 and 2 here, we can have 5 at this school and 5 at this school. And, I want this to be the springboard into high school. You want to get into one of these high schools, you got to come here. And on the flip side, if these high schools are looking for kids, of course, a lot of these schools need kids in our areas for their annual report or diversity
Yeah.
reasons or whatnot. So
Yeah.
why not send the best kid who's prepared and the best family that's prepared and create win-win situations? Because just because you get to these schools, that don't mean you stay in the whole time.
Oh, that's right. Yes, you got
You
to put
got to
out.
get there and you have to maintain, whether it's academically, it turns into your finances. So, we want to be able to give our own persistent scholarship. That's another thing that we're raising money for, to where when our kids do transition into high school, we can give them our own scholarship that follows them through high school and through college, because that's the support you need. You hear it all the time. You can go to school, you can do it, you could do it. And I remember hearing that, but it was always in my back of my head. It was how? Like, show
Yeah.
me, and then I can do. Like, so this is a show me, grab you by your hand, push you through kind of program. And once they get to high school, we have case managers that make sure that they can stay there and making sure that they're getting all the resources and taking advantage of what's available to them or what their needs might be. So, they're not done with us yet. Once they leave us, we follow them through, and then the goal is to, hey, leave me my tickets at will call and I'll be at your game. And we're flying
Okay.
around the country, going to different college football and basketball games. And if that's where I got to ride
Absolutely.
out the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, I could do that.
Oh,
I
that's
could do
so beautiful. It sounds like a very comprehensive program that nothing was left unthought of, that you have really put a lot of thought into every moving piece. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's phenomenal. Okay, so right now we're going to actually segue out of the program for a hot second and then focus on you a little bit. I would like for you to name 3 people that have inspired you. And I know, people always, what, 3 people? I know more than, I know it's probably more than 3, but name 3 people that, you'd like to speak on.
Well, I already named you one, so I'm going to tell you, you're already on the list. So I'm going to pick 3 other people. Um,
Okay.
3 people that inspired me. I had a business professor at Whittier, Professor Decker. Uh, Professor Decker is one. Am I going to explain why later, or?
Oh, no, you can tell me now.
Well, so my senior year, Professor Decker, my freshman year was the first business professor I had, and I wasn't doing good at all. And I remember him pulling me aside and he was like, what's the problem? And I was skating by with low C's. I was like, this is really hard for me. I mean, I don't understand the content and this and that. And I remember him saying, my best student was an African American woman from South Central, and blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to push you the same way. He would come at me like that. And I ended up getting like a B in the class. And then my senior, he leaves to go teach at the Claremont College. So I was like, I'm glad I don't have to have another class with him. But then he comes back my senior year, and I had a brain injury from football my senior year. So I'm coming out the hospital with a blood clot in my brain, and I'm showing my note to all my teachers. And they're like, "Oh, you can work from home. Don't worry about missing school." And I tried to give him that same note, and he was like, "Oh, that's so unfortunate that that happened to you. Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but I get these headaches." And he was like, "Well, my rules that if you miss certain number of days or you're late, I have to drop you. And let me be, if I'm correct, this is your senior year, right?" I said, "Yeah." And he was like, "I only offer this in the fall. So if you can't take it this fall, you're gonna have to come back of fall of 2000 just to take this class." And I was like, oh, so there was days that I would not go to school, but I would get up for his class and he would call on me and I'd have some of the worst headaches. Like I couldn't even drive to
Oh,
school
wow.
one time, but
Wow.
he pushed me. He pushed me, and I don't remember too much out of anything with college, but he was the person that gave me this real definition of us going to a liberal arts school and having a liberal arts education. And it was to be a continuous learner. And just because, once you leave here, that you got it all figured out, learn from everything, learn from everybody, learn from every situation. And I took that with me at 21 years old, and, still thank him to this day. So Professor Decker is definitely one. Um, I would say Reggie Gage, my first baseball coach ever. first person that ever let me be on a team. You know, I always wanted to be play sports at a team. My mom wouldn't let me. I was like 3 months premature, so she was real careful of me of being active. I thought I was going to get hurt or sick all the time.
That
But
was her
my
baby.
yeah, so you know, she was, let me play, mom. And Reggie Gage was the first baseball coach I ever had, and he let me play, and he gave me my first uniform, and that's what caught the bug. You know, he let me have it, so I still see him to this day. Um, Third person, I have to say, my dad. Um, you know, I was very fortunate to have my dad in my whole life. You know, I have a lot of friends that don't know their fathers, and I'm glad I had mine. And he's the one
Yeah, that's
person that
beautiful.
never told me wrong, never lied to me, never told me the wrong thing, and I respect that a lot because it taught me a lot of things just as a young man, and uh, kept me in line. You know, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure if I didn't have him, I would have stepped out of bounds plenty of times because I tiptoed and along the way. But you know, he inspired me, and and just through some of his examples of just watching us struggle and some of the things that they had to do, and just to get to this country. I mean, imagine leaving home at 15 years old with a language barrier and a racial barrier and having to adjust. So that's inspiring to me for them to go through all that, for me to be where I'm at. And now I have children and a grandkid, and their lives are different because of the sacrifices that him and my mom and my dad, I won't say they're a combo, mom and
Yeah.
dad
Oh,
inspired me.
absolutely. Absolutely. And they're beautiful people. And, look at the wonderful parent you became. You have this amazing son who's very talented and creative. And then you have that brainy daughter of yours, so you were definitely, definitely fortunate, and you did a wonderful job.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You passed down what your dad had given you. So now, what would the 9-year-old Tino say to the grown man Tino today?
Ooh. Uh, Listen to your dad because he knows what he's talking about. He's probably the one person in this world to this day, and he's 32, so he'll be 78, 79 this year. Glaucoma, could barely see, but he could look me in the face and say, I told you so, and I'll get in a fetal position and fall
Yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, nah, know that just listen a little bit more instead of thinking, I think as kids, you're so used to your parents telling you everything, you kind of toot it out, and then you later, oh, they were right the whole time. And yeah, I think I could have
yeah,
9 years old, like, yeah, you might want to listen to them, listen to them. Don't be so hard
absolutely.
headed on this one. So that's what it would be for sure. It would have saved me a few growing pains. But I guess every lesson learned has a growing pain, and it leads you to where you're at. So same
Absolutely,
time, can't take it back.
absolutely.
But yeah, would be.
So, Tino, as we get ready to close the show, um, would you leave the audience with some parting words and remind them about the Changing the Game fundraiser campaign, and what is the best way for them to reach you?
Okay, so again, changing the game campaign. It's our first launching of a capital campaign to really expand our mission and serve more kids and more families, and have the best facilities, and put our best efforts forward for our kids to get the best opportunity they can. And we're looking for people that get it. We're looking for people that one that were not specifically, but if you played sports at any level, like, you understand this.
Yeah,
And it's definitely, we're looking for just like-minded people that want to help out, and understand that sports is, it's a vehicle. It's a vehicle to get you somewhere, and it's really the work ethic, and it's the habits that you get from sports that push you to wherever it is you're going to be. And you're going to be a professional in something, in something
yeah,
along the
yeah,
way when this is all over. And we just want to make sure that our kids can get the best opportunities, because there's plenty of talent in San Francisco. We're just not developed the right way. We might not have access to the correct information, but there's plenty of talented and smart young children that you know, a lot of people give up on just because of where their zip code might be, or what they look like, and some of the things they can and can't get to. So, you know, we really look into even the playing field, let the talent get developed properly, put the talent in the right exposure environment so they can grow and, you know, get these college offers, and, you know, chase the dream that they're chasing for. Oh, another thing I wanted to add. So in our 2 school years that we've had, 2 graduating classes, we have a student who's going to be an incoming 10th grader at Reardon. He already has 2 college offers, one
Wow.
to UNLV and one to San Jose State. And, you know, he's going to be a sophomore in high school. And we have an incoming freshman. He's going to Sarah High School. He also has 2 college offers and hasn't even stepped
Wow.
foot in high school. So San Diego State and San Jose State made him an offer, and that's where we want to be. So if we're able to do
Wow.
that in a short period of time, you know, imagine what we could do with the right people and the right things in place. So changing the game campaign, that's exactly what it is. It's changing the game and even the playing field and giving our kids, you know, the best shot and making it excuseless. And you can always work hard and get what you're looking for. And you know, you got us behind you. So
Yeah.
uh,
So
you're
this
not doing
takes
it by
place
yourself.
on August 17th, right?
Yes,
Is there a
Atwater
physical
Tavern.
place?
Yes, Atwater Tavern. It's right there on Terry Francois Boulevard, right there by the Giants stadium, right there. Right the parking lot actually of the Giants baseball stadium. It's right
What
there.
time?
I believe it's from 5 to 7:30. Uh,
Okay.
5 to 7:30. Give people time, you know, but you know, we'll have some light appetizers and you know, we'll be launching our campaign. And like I said, and answering any questions people might have, because you know, there's a lot of people that have been curious about what it is that we're doing, but this is kind of our kickoff event. And you know, hopefully we can get a few whales in the room and get them swimming in the room and want to help us do some you know, continue to do the good work, because that's all everybody keeps saying is it's coming. You're doing the good work. You're
Yeah.
doing the good
Yeah.
work. So
So now,
we'll keep pushing.
how can people reach you if they need more information?
Okay, so you can always go to our website, USADASF.org. There's contact information there where you can email us. We're on Instagram constantly at Urban Student Athlete on Instagram. So people have been Instagram messaging us, or you can email us at urbanstudentathlete@gmail.com. But you know, we're not too hard to find. We're not too hard to
Okay.
find.
Okay. And I'll also have that information in this podcast. So people that listen to the podcast, they'll be able to click on more information and to see that. So Tino, I would
Would
like
they
to
be able to
thank,
click on the flyer that
no,
I gave you? Okay.
no, no. But I would like to thank you for taking out time to be on Straight Talking with Kelly, where real conversations happen. I wish you much success with your Urban Student Athlete Development Academy and Changing the Game campaign.
Thank you, Kelly. And I appreciate you. And this was fun. And nah, thank you for being who you are to me. I mean, I can't say it enough. I know you'd be like, voice please, but like, you know, a lot of time, like really, like you gave me, you know, a lot of brain food and a different perspective. And I always appreciate you for that. So thank you.
Oh, you are welcome. And to my listening audience, thank you for joining us. And please find me on YouTube, Straight Talking with Kelly. Like, subscribe, comment, and share. See you next time. Thanks, Tino.
Thanks.